Nan Hayworth is a member of the Independent Women's Forum Board of Directors and a former New York Congresswoman. And Howard Franklin is a Democratic strategist. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Lauren. Good to be with you.
All right, Howard, let me begin with you. Are you optimistic for bipartisanship here?
I don't know that I would go quite so far as to call it optimism that I hold for bipartisanship. But I do think this will be an unprecedented legislative marriage, maybe more of a shotgun marriage. And I do think it's hard to say, what might happen when you've got a long-standing and very serious legislative leader like Nancy Pelosi and someone who is, flying by the seat of his pants like Donald Trump. I think some things could happen. Some magic could actually happen here, but I think we'll have to wait and see.
Some shotgun marriages do work, but Nan, I question if it can work when we're going to see, or very likely to see, investigation after investigation after investigation. What advice would you give to Pelosi and Democrats?
I would urge them, and I welcomed former Speaker, perhaps future Speaker Pelosi's words of bipartisan cooperation, but I would urge them to get going on legislation. There's a lot of potential common ground, including on infrastructure, which everybody likes. But yes, the more they concentrate on investigation, and her incoming chairs, including Jerry Nadler, have been very loud and clear that they want to spend their time throwing the book at President Trump. That will, I think, fail politically for Democrats in the 2020 election cycle. The president has the economy and national security on his side. So they really do need to concentrate on solid accomplishments. And that can be done if they have the right attitude.
And Howard, President Trump needs Democrats' support for NAFTA 2.0, right, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, for raising the debt ceiling. They do have to work together.
I mean, that is the expectation. Or I think you're right. I think you're laying out a need. And certainly this president, if he wants to continue his quote-unquote winning streak, he certainly is going to need the legislative support of the speaker and the lower house. I do think, though, as conditions change, if the economy falters, or as the Democratic Party also has to look to its base, and there's certainly within the base a lot of desire to address some of the I don't want to call them outright lies, but some of the things that President Trump has said and done over the last several years, I think there will be a natural sort of gravitational pull to pull some of the loose threads of this presidency. And I don't know that Speaker Pelosi or anyone will be able to stop that desire from bubbling to the surface.
And in asking for that, the speakership, Nancy Pelosi outlines three priorities, Nan: healthcare, increasing wages, as two of them. And that makes a lot of people worry about that the president might cut some anti-growth deals. Are you worried about that?
I think it's a concern that should be made loud and clear over and over again to both Congress and the president. And you know what? We've got, again, the economy is on our side because under this great president for our economy, wages are rising, Lauren. So they need to keep making that argument. 2020 has already started, and it's going to be crucial that the president continue his agenda from whatever levels he can manage it. And raising the minimum wage, I think, would be a very challenging proposition. That said, his new USMC trade agreement does include some wage requirements for certain industries. So that could be a sop to the Democrats. We'll see.
As we wrap this up, Howard, do you expect any deal to be done on immigration, or do you expect that issue to remain a question mark for 2020?
That's a great question. I mean, I think this really comes down to whether or not the president insists on a wall. I don't think Democrats, after winning back the House, can see a way clear to making a deal that includes a border wall. But if it does not include a border wall, I definitely see a way forward on immigration.
All right. Howard, Nan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you and your perspective.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.